Okay. All right. So I actually had a live going and I ended it. And then now I'm just starting over. A couple things messed me up here. So let me get back to it. So basically, I'm just working on scenarios here, answering questions about the CRM if you have any questions, how to do things, or whatever it is. Um, um, and just kind of building a based building off of demos I currently have, or current scenarios I have. um, Bear with me here. Anyway, all right, so let's see what we have here. Okay, so now I need to bring everything back up. Where did it go? Here it is. Okay. So what I figured out is that um, they want to be able to track whether a flyer was sent. So um, I created a field where they can check whether the flyer was sent or not. Um, they can put when that flyer was sent. So a little bit of information there. Um, Now they want it to where if the flyer hasn't been sent, they need to log flyer sent, date, time, increment flyer. So they need to be able to send that out. Now the question is this a digital flyer? Is it a physical flyer? Because I don't think it says. Yeah, it doesn't seem like it, but they do have phone calls. And it looks like, have we called 3 times? Call lead with 5-9. Have they called 3 times? If the answer is yes, have we exhausted all methods of person? So it looks like they have also account for how many times they've reached out. So we could make something like this. So I could make a, is this status relevant? What is the status here? I'll leave that there. And then a pick list. We could do, actually, I need to bring my keyboard back over here because I forgot that I was viewing on one screen and the other. Okay. So, what's another way of saying call quantity of call quantity? Call quantity to quantity. I don't like the way that sounds. What's another way of saying call quantity? Call quantity can be expressed as call amount, call volume. Call volume, call amount. Maybe call amount. I feel like there's something else, but call amount. 1 call, 2 calls. Actually, no. Yeah, okay. Calls. Do I want to say call 1, call 2, call 3? Called once, maybe? Called once. Called twice. Called 3 times. Do I like that? Do I like how that sounds? I still don't know if I like the way that sounds. Called once, called twice, but whatever. I'm going to enable colors. I kind of want to do red, yellow, blue. Let's go ahead and do that as part of. Yeah, I'm going to do that to have that in the call and accounts module as well. So now, because if they call 3 times, they want to be able to say, hey, have they been called twice? Then you need to call a 3rd time. So really a call lead with FireS. So a task should be created to call that person. So I wonder if I can. It would be interesting if I could say, let's go to workflow. What if I said, okay, so the lead, this would be call call outreach. Call outreach. So record action. Let's say create edit. No, let's say edit. Specific field. And we're going to say, what did I name it? Call amount is the value. Let's see. Okay, so this is a number. So let's say the value is once or twice. Yeah, call volume is once, twice, called once, called twice. And then leads matching certain conditions. Let's say that flyer sent is not selected. Well, actually, that won't matter for a phone call. So we will say, so the rule will be executed when call amount is modified to the value call once or call twice. This is interesting because if I set this up as called once, called twice, right? So technically, if I modify to call this once, it will trigger. and then it would send up a task to call person, right? I guess I don't. The part that I'm confused on is if I said it and I said, "Oh, call the second time," but that title won't make sense because if it's changed to call twice, it will trigger and it will say call second time when it should say call third time. But I could make it generic and say call lead, and then the user would have to go in there and mark it. If they call the second time, mark it to second time, and then this will trigger again. Wait, maybe we can make it wait a day or two, or I could do one workflow where it's called once, set up a task, and then when they call, they'll mark it to twice. I'll have another workflow that when it's switched to twice, it will send out another task that says call third and final time, and then they'll switch it to call third, which will meet the criteria. Will then meet the criteria of call. Did you call 3 times? Yes. Have we exhausted all of our methods of outreach? No. Mark lead process and set status to inactive with a note and comp. Okay, so they want a process of adding a note. If it says yes, or I mean no, we haven't exhausted all of our outreach process options. Status update required. Yes. Agent update lead status. Okay, so I think that will probably be better to set up like that. But what I can do is I'm going to see what this looks like built out. So we're not going to do flyer sent. Let's see. We're going to do. They don't have to meet a certain requirement. So I'm going to say all leads. So we're going to say notify activities. So assign a task. Whoops. We don't want to schedule a call because what if they already have a call scheduled? So we'll assign in a task and have them, because according to their workflow, they will reach out to them using their own telephony. So I'm going to do a task. So let's say they have, so we could just create a task here, right? So what we'll do is we'll say, reach out to lead. And then, hello, feel free to ask questions. Welcome to the live. I'm just kind of going through some scenarios here. This way, you can see how the CRM works, or if you have specific questions, I can answer them as well. And even like show you how things are done if you have a specific question. Okay, so the trigger date. So the trigger date is basically the day that this is triggered. So we're going to leave that, and we want it to trigger right away, right? So once they've switched the status, they called once, we want the status to automatically, actually, if they set it to once, we don't want it to trigger right away because that means it'll create the task right away. So what I want maybe is to do like 2 business days. Now they're going to be able to set it up how they want. I'm just trying to make this as realistic as possible, right? So it's going to trigger once they set it to once. It's going to trigger in 2 business days. We're going to keep the status at not started, the priority at high, and the task owner, I'm going to leave it blank because I want it to assign it to whoever the lead owner is. Reach out to lead. And then now this is, they don't have to do it this way, but reach out. I'm just trying to fill in the blanks here. So reach out to lead and then switch to reach out to lead. Whatever. Okay, so reach out to lead, whatever, right? So save and associate. Okay. So now what's going to happen is once it's changed to once, this task is going to be created 2 business days later. So they've called once, let's say nobody answers. Okay. Called twice, maybe nobody answers again, waits 2 days, and then they're going to call a third time and switch it to 3. But nothing's going to happen. This is not going to trigger on that third one, which is fine because technically we want so we want them to be able to have the ability to mark them as inactive. Now I'm going to check to see if there is an inactive. So lead status, junk, lost lead. So technically we can use this here, but I thought I had one that specifically status. No. Okay, so I'll use this, but I want to add in inactive. So I'm going to edit this here. So let's edit this and add in, do I have one that is unused? No, I don't. New, not contacted. Now, obviously they don't have to use any of these here. Okay, so let's go ahead and add one in, but I'm going to add it in. Yeah, whatever. I'll just add it in right here. Inactive. Let's make that a red, dark red. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Okay. We're going to say junk because I would think if something's inactive, it's a junk. And that junk status basically will work for like being able to check out or being able to do reports and things like that as well. So last touch date, I'm going to leave that there because if they're looking to keep in contact with their leads and things like that, I'm gonna put this here. Flyer sent on website. I don't think I need that. Preferred contact method. I think I'll keep that because if they are dealing with flyers, call, text, email, okay, call them out. This is where they're going to switch. Okay, so is this the status? Oh, no, that's the hot and cold one. Do I want to keep that on there? I mean, it just seems redundant to have that, this like that, and that like that. Yeah, I'm going to remove that for right now since we have this. Because what do we have as the, oh, not that one. What do we have as the statuses? Welcome in. If you have any questions about the CRM on a how-to or anything like that, let me know. I'm just kind of working through scenarios and building out. This is kind of the process I go through building out certain scenarios. But feel free to ask any questions. Okay, so I have a working lead, a new lead, new. That's kind of redundant as well. So I'm going to delete that one out. Disqualified, qualified. So yeah, let's stick with this one here, this status here. Modified by lead source, modified by, I'm going to put up here. What does that look like? Yeah, company name, first name, last name. I kind of want this to be over here. I want the email to be here. Phone, lead source, lead status, call amount. So let's put this here and this here. Something like that. Let's actually put this above it. Last touch date. Yeah, that's fine with me. Well, if they're really, if they're dealing with call amount and when the flyer was sent, well, last touch date could still be relevant because they could call on the 3rd and not call until like the 18th, but they are actively getting tasks from the automation we set up. We'll leave it for now. We can always remove it later. All right, so let's save and close. So now we know if they set the lead status, we're going to set new, and then let's say that the call amount is called once. I just got off the phone with them. That was my first call, which means that my last touch date was today. Flyer sent is not. Let's just say that call, right? I'm kind of just building this out here. Okay, so now we can see that it triggered, right? So follow up with lead, reach out to lead. Now, the reason this one is here is because of an automation that I have set up that says whenever they fill out a web form to go ahead and reach out to them, right? So that's an automation from a web form. This is the automation from it being marked as reached out once, right? So now what happens if they reach out a third time, right? So if they reach out 3 times and they've exhausted all things, so mark lead as processed and set status. So mark lead as processed and set status. So they want something that says processed, right? So whoops, I did the wrong button. Edit. So let's go back to that edit field. Or the edit page. And this is kind of like, what I do. Like this is exactly how the process goes whenever I'm trying to, prepare for like a demo or show somebody how certain things are set up. Because when I do a demo, I don't actually do this setup in front of them. And you could see why. It takes a long time. It takes some planning, some troubleshooting sometimes. But I want to be able to have it done so I can say, hey, look, I did it. It's, here's, proof that it works, right? So they do want to be able to have a processed, right? So I feel like I would want to have a check mark for that one as well, because process is true or false. The lead status is where I would do inactive. So I would set to inactive. So this would be processed, right? And inactive with a note of completed communication plan. So, and the note will automatically be something that they can add. I don't need to have that as a field. So, for example, I could say processed, right? And then mark it as inactive and then add notes here, right? So can I, some notes is at the top, activities, cadences. Okay. Okay, that's fine. So that's going to be like that. Now, if they haven't, have we exhausted all methods of outreach? And if they haven't, a status update is required, right? So agent updates lead status. So now that's going to be a process. That's the process that they're going to do here, right? They're going to set this here, like not contacted or, attempted to contact. As a matter of fact, I don't like that these are separate because now it makes sense to have that right under lead status when we kind of play with that, right? So I want to move this right under lead status. Okay. Okay. So now I can see that I've got some, I've got this going on here. I'm starting to work and build on this this lead here. So they filled out a contact us form, but obviously theirs is probably going to be different. Import maybe. The lead status, I did attempt to call. I called once. They're not processed yet. This status can actually probably stay attempted call and then switch twice, and it'll create that other task. But it'll be up to them to add notes, like for example, first call attempt, no answer, left a voicemail, right? Something like that, right? So, I update the status, right? Status update required, agent update lead status, right? Agent updates lead status, right? So we attempted the contact, and that status is probably going to stay like that until they reach the third one. If there's no answer on the third one, then that means, right, they're going to mark it as processed, set this to inactive, or if they have other statuses as well. So so then so there's a few more things that are needed, like do they need a consultant, things like that. Now that could be based because they're going to be filling out a form, but they could also fill this out to say needs consultant. Actually, we could probably add because if they have like an on-call thing, right? So needs consultant, yes, go to CSM platform, show link in CRM. Agent enters information. Because we can always do a new section, right? Let's put it under the address information. While on call, and I can say needs consultant checkbox, right? Needs consultant. Maybe a multi-line for notes. Notes, plain text large, rich, mark public, required. I'm going to say notes are required because that seems like something they would need. And I'm going to put this under those, the account and the contact. On-call notes. Okay. And I'm not going to add any other fields because I mainly just want to show that we can add that as an option. I don't know why. Oh, I didn't save it. Is that why? Let me go back. So address. Oh, there's the, okay. So while they're on the call, they put needs consultant. These are notes taken while on the call. Just kind of building that here. When, I don't know. Georgia, is that how you spell Georgia? How do you spell Georgia? That's how you spell it, right? Oh, IA. That's weird. IA. Yeah, okay. Okay. All right. So they can do on-call notes, needs consultant, yes, no. Agent information and call. Log length of call. So they want a log length of call, date, time, and increment call count will be in 59 link. So if they want to add, if they do want to add the call, logging the call date and time, they can always do date and time. Let's say like call length, right? Or call duration. Or call log. I don't know. Something like that. So date and time, increment call count. So increment call count. So that's we're going to do call twice or second call. So we could even, I mean, that could technically be in this section too, but that's while on call here. So why don't we actually move that up to be more, I guess, neat. Okay, perfect. Okay, so that is going to be okay. All right. Anyway, all right. So we set up that mapping for that portion of it. So that setup was just for the call and a little bit from the flyer. Actually, the flyer could probably be done. It just depends on if it's a physical or an email. But they have an email section, so it's probably physical. Um, but that sets up the call portion of it. So I think tomorrow I'm going to do the text and email setup. So I think I'm going to be done for today and then be back live tomorrow if you guys want to join. So thanks a lot. Bye.